Everyone follows a belief system, a religion, a set of practices for one or some combination of these four reasons. One, they find it helpful in some way. It offers them access to resources or people that they wouldn't otherwise have. Two, they find it beautiful. They like the music, they like the practices, they like the incense, they like the meditation, whatever it is. They just find it beautiful in some way. Three, it ties them to a culture or a tradition. This happens a lot with religion. That is maybe the one access that you have to like a homeland. And four, it offers some sort of explanatory power for how the world works. Now, that explanatory power cannot be confused with truth. And this is where people get caught up. That as they deconstruct their belief, faith, theological system, and practices, that they think they're losing all access to truth. Religion and the pursuit of truth are not always one and the same. Religion offers that explanatory power. It offers some narrative that is helpful for your mind to understand how the world works. The pursuit of truth, which is often science and philosophy, is, its own separate and difficult thing. And religion and philosophy and science, they play together, but it's okay to deconstruct your religion and, have a separate pursuit of truth. It's also okay that if there's a set of practices in a religion, a belief system, a theology system that you find helpful or useful or beautiful or ties you to a culture or tradition, that if it's a little bit disjointed from your pursuit of truth as well. I've spoken to a surprising amount of atheists who really dig a good Hillsong or Bethel concert or music because it gives them this sense of being connected to the transcendent. And I will admit that Hillsong and Bethel and modern contemporary worship music does a great job of that. But they also know that they don't believe in hardly anything that the songwriters believe in. But those are two separate things. They have this set of practices around music that offers them a sense of beauty, connects them to maybe a culture that they grew up in, and they also have their own beliefs around what is true, around, God and inclusion, things like that. I know other folks who are reconnecting to their African heritage and spirituality, and they're discovering the practices of their ancestors, which connected them to the ground and to their ancestors and to the spirit that ran the world. And all the while not really turning their back on what they think is true about Jesus and the resurrection and those sorts of things. As a Christian pastor, I have no problem with this. 1 Corinthians 3 says that everything belongs to you. I think we are welcome and invited to find things that are beautiful and useful and offer explanatory power as is best for us in our community, as long as it's not harming others. And we also need to do, our pursuit of what is true, what is actually real about the world and the God that made it and everything else. And those two things can sometimes be a little jumbled up, and that can create some dissonance in our minds. And it's okay to live with that dissonance.